Fios is not cable. We're wired differently, which means you can get the fastest internet available with equal upload and download speeds from 50 to 500 megs. So you can upload 200 photos before your favorite song is finished. Click the ad and switch to Fios today to get our best offer ever.
Blog Talk Radio.
You're listening to the Morning Punchin' Show with RB and J, live and direct from more cities than an Instagram model's bio. Get ready for some boxing talk on the clock. Let's face it, you're not working and somebody's got to pay for the Wi-Fi.
Hey, good morning, everybody. It is RB and J. This is the Morning Punchin' Show, the most unpredictable, honest, and authentic morning boxing talk show in the game. Today is Monday, October 10th, 2016. Our special guest today on Hotline Bling is no other than heavyweight boxer Prince Charles Martin. We are going to catch up with Prince Charles this morning. We're going to ask him about the shooting. We're going to ask him about his rap career and this drug use that we've been seeing all over his Snapchat. So make sure you hang on. You won't want to miss Hotline Bling. Let me bring on my partner in crime, the creator and founder of BadCulture.net, Jay. What's good, Jay?
Jay is wide awake here in the city of Inglewood and cutting weight for the next 10 weeks like I'm fighting Mayweather in May. So I'm heavy into this 10-week workout challenge. I'm glad to see we got plenty to talk about this morning. Happy to be with you and ready to cackle along with Charles Martin. So it's a good day. And before we get into that, speaking of good days, let's start off with the hot question of the day. Is boxing on the brink of a rebirth, or is it hanging on by its last thread? We would like to know your responses, and we'll read some responses during the show. If you'd like to respond, please use the official show hashtag TMPS. Remember, you respond to myself or RB or both, use the show hashtag TMPS. RB, are we hanging on by a thread, or are we about to experience a rebirth? What you think?
You know, for a while there, I really thought we were hanging on by a thread, but I think we go through these roller coaster rides with boxing where we have like really highs and we got really lows, and coming out of that low can be really, really difficult. You know, there's nothing to talk about. There's no fights to watch. Nobody's fighting each other. But I want to say that I think Russell Peltz said it best the other day when he said, look, I think we're on the cusp of a rebirth here because the fighters have no choice now. They are going to have to fight in 2017. So I really hope that's true, and I'm going to try to look at it in a positive way and say, you know what, it's been really shitty, but I think we are on the rise. I think we're coming out of that valley.
I agree with you, and I agree with Russell Peltz. I think we're on the verge of a rebirth, too. Sometimes with any great nation, it has to fall before it can crumble again, like any great sports team, the Lakers, the Bulls, the Heat, the Cavs. Every great institution has to have a downward cycle and then come back all the way up. And with boxing, maybe some of those old heads needed to clear the way for younger, newer, fresher talent to come way. I think we're on the cusp of a rebirth as well, maybe even a new renaissance period, if you will, like the earth purging itself. A couple responses to some of our listeners when we posed the hot topic question yesterday. Dante Rose, a.k.a. at DSmoothT210, says, boxing is hanging on by a thread, sadly, until these promoters, fighters, networks, managers, and etc. get together and act like adults. Glitter Road, Clay Stevenson says, I believe a rebirth is around the corner, just needs the traditional business model to return. Carla Jenkins, what's up, Carla Jenkins? You a raging babe?
Hey, Carla.
What's up, Carla? I see a rebirth. I see a new crop of exciting fighters and new venues and opportunities for boxing. Nashville Boxing says, I don't see any signs of a rebirth except in the UK. In the U.S., it will be the same sad story. But, hey, the UK is still part of boxing. They're just on a different continent. So I'll take that as a rebirth. And sorry for you guys listening, Uber Niggas says that boxing is in the beginnings of a new golden age. Many, many rising legends. I don't know if Uber approves that name, but it's pretty funny, and I like your response. So keep giving us your hot question responses by using the hashtag TMPS. Back to you, Arby.
Thanks. That was a really good hot question. It really made me think. And, you know, the first thing we want to say is like, no, it's trash. But thank you for everyone who responded. That was cool. So, listen, the lines are open, 718-508-9852. Press 1 if you'd like to play Know It or Blow It. We have a packed show today. We're going to try to squeeze everything in 60 minutes. So not sure if we can, get you to speak your piece, but if you want to play Know It or Blow It, we got some good games, win some free stuff. Over the weekend, we lost former junior welterweight champion, Aaron the Hawk Pryor. He passed away yesterday in Cincinnati after a long battle with heart disease. He was 60 years old. Without a question, Aaron Pryor was one of the most thrilling fighters to ever lace up. He never asked for tune-ups. He fought the best of the best. He fought his ass off. He was a fan favorite, underrated, underappreciated, true Hall of Famer. So before we punch in, Jay, why don't we play 10 Bells for the Legend?
Let's do it. Rest in peace, Aaron. For those of you who are fans of Chocolatito, and indeed, if you haven't been involved in boxing for that long and you're a more recent fan, you might have heard him mention Aaron Pryor when he talks about Alexis Arguello as some of the best coming out of Nicaragua, some epic battles with him. Rest in peace, another legend lost. So let's go ahead and punch in, RB.
All right, let's start with the weekend fight results, Jay. There was some fights on Friday and Saturday. Why don't you start off with Ricky Burns?
Oh, okay, Ricky Burns. So this past weekend, Ricky Burns edges Relik. Please, my apologies for mispronouncing his name. Relik for a decision. Relik for a decision win. Be on the lookout for Adrian Broner versus Burns next. So look out for that. Diego Magdaleno decision Art Hovhannissian in 10 rounds on LA Fight Club. Pretty good scrap. Diego has a fight or two left in him. So good win over Art Hovhannissian. Orlando Cruz, RB.
Orlando Cruz, wepa.
He rolls on forward with a TKO win in Florida. He's still aiming at being the first openly gay world champ. So shout out to him and shout out to the gay community. Ronald Gabriel becomes the new NABF super middleweight champion over Christopher Booker in a 10-round TKO win out in Las Vegas on the Mayweather promo card.
Yeah, you know what? After the fight, Jay, Floyd Mayweather spoke to some media, and he really, really sounded off. You could tell that he was not happy with his fighters' performances, not just Ronald, but I think some other ones too. He mentioned they got to start training harder. They need to be in the gym. They need to work on their combinations. They need to work on a lot of stuff. But he also sounded off on his sentiments on the boxing landscape today and fighters and what they're asking for and demanding. And he really thinks that it's ludicrous. So we're going to talk more about Floyd Mayweather during Hot Topics.
All right.
If you want the best, Box Stats beats the rest.
Oh, okay. Just kidding. Box Stats beats the rest. But, hey, I guess we'll move on to In Case You Missed It.
Actually, I think we have Charles Martin that we want to play, Jay.
Okay, well, let's get into Charles Martin.
Yeah.
Sorry, y'all. Console challenges this morning. But, hey, we can move on to Charles Martin. Let me see if we have him in the queue already. It looks like somebody is calling in. 1 second. Boy, you guys are calling in deep this morning. I think we have Charles Martin in the queue, RB.
All right, let's go. We just wanted to catch up with you. We see like you into some different things now and stuff. So
right now to do a meeting with some people and make a track with WizKid.
Oh, for real?
It's Jay Park. Yeah, we're doing some stuff with my artist Jay Park.
You know, we wanted to talk about your music. So since you brought it up first, I guess over the past couple months, just following you on social media, we see that you're working with rappers. Are you rapping too, or is it your studio?
I rap too as well. Yeah, I just finished the song today, as a matter of fact, called
Mm-hmm.
Touchdown. And we're going touchdown in the A. You know what I mean?
What's your rap name?
Charlie Mack. That was my name when I was a kid. That was my name. You know what I'm saying? Charlie Mack from way back. Because I used to rap when I was young. When I was 14, I wrote my first rap. So it was always my passion to be a rapper. But I never told nobody that because you can't really take it seriously. But you can take the business aspect. You can take the business half of it seriously. See, and that's what I know as an adult. You know, I can take the business part. Make some moves with it. You know, it's whatever.
So it looks like then that maybe boxing has taken a back seat. I mean, there was the Anthony Joshua fight, and then it looks like you really just kind of got into your music after that. Was it easy just to kind of put boxing on the back burner for now with the business being the way it is and there's so much negativity?
No, I'm still boxing, but right now, you know, I got shot, so I can't box right now. It's just my bone. My ulnar bone got shattered, you know what I mean? So 4 months in the bone shit, it's already mending back together. It was only like a fracture. It was like a fracture, not like a break. So I'm only wearing a brace. So, you know, the bullet fragments just stayed in my arm, so I had to get a surgery. But it's all good. It's all good, though. It's recovering just fine, so I'm blessed. You know, I'm feeling real good about that situation. You know what I'm saying? I ain't gonna put my business out there, but you know, I had a bounty on them, man. It is what it is. Just the hate. It was just hate, you know. Hate out there, man. It's supposed to be hated. And I ain't even the one to hate on, cause I'll give you something. I'll give you the shirt off my back. I'll give you something. You know what I mean? Like, you ain't gotta hate on me.
Listen, we want to kind of, we want to also talk.
I gotta hook you up to my jeweler. I gotta hook you up to my jeweler.
No. We want to be hooked up with your jewelry, not your jeweler, your jewelry.
Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah. So
where y'all at again? Phoenix?
Yeah, I'm in Phoenix. Jay is in Inglewood. Yeah, I was just there last weekend too. We should have hit you up. Where you at? In Hollywood?
Yeah, I'm in North Hollywood.
All right, I'm gonna be back there in a couple weeks. We want to come into the studio. Like, I'm gonna lay a track too in Spanish. Like, I'm gonna hit you with like some reggaeton. But no, all jokes aside, I want to talk about your lifestyle. You know, you went over there, you bought Joshua, you made a lot of money, you come back. There was the shooting. Your lifestyle has changed. You know, you're really now investing into your music career, your rap career. I'm sure there's women and there's all this other stuff going on. Is it hard to keep a woman now with your status and you're famous and celebrity and all this stuff? Is it hard?
No, because I got a fiance.
Oh, you do?
Oh, congratulations.
We got to talk about your social media a little bit, because in the past couple weeks, some of the headlines in boxing, you know, Tyson Fury came out and said, you know, he's been doing cocaine, and we see a lot of fighters getting arrested recently for DUIs and stuff, and we actually really enjoy following you on Snapchat, but there's a lot of blunts getting passed around. What is good with all that?
I don't drink, though. I don't drink. I don't do no other drugs. I don't drink. It was for the pain, because I'd rather take, when I got shot, rather than taking the pain pills that they would give me in that medicine, I'd rather just smoke weed for the pain. So I do it for the pain. That's it. You know what I mean?
So then if you're smoking weed, and we know, I mean, I have heard that it takes more than 30 days for weed to get out of your system. I've heard that.
Yeah.
How do you prepare yourself for maybe going back to the ring, or is that even a priority for you right now?
I mean, it's definitely on hold right now. Boxing is on hold, but boxing ain't. You know, it's not. I'm not done with it. So right now, you know what I mean. I know I can't. It's a lifestyle, and I can't be, you know, cheating on boxing. You know, but
there's a really dark side in boxing, and we see fighters, you know, sometimes turn to different drugs and pills and stuff like that. So we wanted to make sure you got this under control, where, you know, if you don't want to take the pills, at least, you know, you're smoking for the pain. It's not like you're in depression or anything, because we see that happen a lot when fighters take a loss.
Yeah. But hell, one thing, it just bounced off me, you know. Like it was meant to happen, you know. I know me, and I know the situation, and you know, I know what happened in the fight, you know, every little thing that happened leading up to the loss. You know what I'm saying? So I can live with that, and I fucking just dwell on that and stuff and stay. I'm moving on to bigger things. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? A blessing. You know what I mean? Two young black brothers try to take me to the game, and they try to kill me. Take my, and then I meet two young black brothers, and they, you know what I'm saying? They're really talented. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Prince, we listen to you a little bit, cutting out a little bit. Let me ask you something. You're a pretty flashy guy, and you have a lot of personality when we see you in and outside of the ring. After the fight with Joshua, it just seems like social media was real hard on you compared to Dominic Brazil, who also got beat by Joshua. Do you think they were harder on you than him?
That stuff don't even really matter. Like, I don't even care. I promise I don't care. It's crazy. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing, but I don't even really be caring about it. Like, everybody gonna always, even when you're doing good, they gonna still hate you. When you do bad, they gonna hate you. They just gonna laugh and hate you. That's all. That's the only difference. You know what I'm saying? When you lose.
So next up, and part of that keeping it pushing is getting into the studio before we wrap up with you, because we know you're gonna catch a plane. Do you have a hot 16 for us before we wrap up this interview? You got 16 for us?
Oh man.
Come on, you just said you laid something down today.
Yeah, I just cut down on the jet. All of my diamonds is wet. Blueberry, you know it connect. Anything that you want, I can get you to split. From the grams to the brick, dance to the purse, man. I really do work. 150, that's just on my neck to my shirt. Bad bitch, hop on my dick, and you. No, I can't even. I don't even. It's all good. I'm high as fuck right now, y'all. Y'all doing too much.
Well, you know,
all right,
we wish you the best of luck. Be safe out there. We want to see you back in the ring, so if we got to put a patch on your back, if I see you in the streets, I'm going to patch you on your back. I'm going to stick one of them nicotine patches on your back so we can get you back in the ring.
No, I'm gonna get back to it.
All right, good. Well, we just looking out for you. Thank you so much for talking to us today.
Are you looking for a website that has all the latest and upcoming boxing events, plus unique and stylish boxing shirts and hoodies for men and women? Go check out RagingBabe.com. It's your one-stop shop for the most current boxing info and fresh boxing apparel for him and her. Shop online today at RagingBabe.com. Use the promo code RB20 at checkout for 20% off your entire purchase today. That's code RB20 for 20% off your entire purchase today, only at RagingBabe.com. So join the movement and see why attitude and loyalty become passion and determination, only at RagingBabe.com.
All right. Shout out to Charles Martin. My phone is blowing up right now. People are all over the place with that freestyle. Only RB and J could bring this out of athletes. I'm telling you. Anyway, if you've been hiding under a rock, if you've been in the boxing dark, because yes, boxing has been a little bit of a low these past few days, we're going to bring you up to speed in case you missed it. So here we go. We've got some things that happened. Amir Khan is eyeing his boxing return early next year, Jay, after having his hip bone transplanted into his fist. So he's claiming that he suffered with pain for years, like 10 years of pain. He's been waiting to get this fist pain situated until technology got a little better. So I'm just wondering if there's any technology that could maybe help out the chin bone. But I don't know. Canelo was in LA last week, and he did get a second opinion. His thumb is fractured, and he won't be fighting again in 2016. He will be back in 2017. They're saying probably around February or March. So poor Willie Monroe, he is out there campaigning for this fight. He thinks he's got a contract and everything else. Willie, you're not fighting Canelo. So, yeah.
And also making headlines, boxers behaving badly, doing badly, struggling badly, performing badly. Zab Judah was charged with domestic violence. You know, this comes on the heels of the video that surfaced of him hitting someone in the car and saying his name wasn't Zab Judah. He gave like a fake name, and the lady recorded it. Zab is not having the best end of the year ever. Victor Ortiz was arrested for a DUI. I guess he's spending those Ray Donovan checks on liquor. And Tyson Fury is on blow and told us all to suck a dick about it. So, hey, thanks, boxers. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
Fury did make some light of his situation. He was putting up pictures of, him as Al Pacino and, with all this blow around him. And, yeah, he's something else. Anyway, the 2017 Hall of Fame ballot came out, and there's 3 guys on there that I think are shoo-ins. Evander Holyfield, the only 4-time heavyweight world title holder in boxing history, and one of the most popular and excited fighters of his time. And 2 other guys, former 3-division title holders, all action styles, Marco Antonio Barrera and Johnny Tapia. I think they're the 3 shoo-ins. Fernando Vargas made it on the ballot this year, and some other newbies that I don't think are going to get in this year, but it's exciting that they're on the ballot. So, Jay, I really want to get into last week's episode of The Fight Game. In case you missed it, last week there was an episode of The Fight Game, and Jim Lampley really gave an assessment on PBC. And I think it's a view that many people have shared, and the general point was really reasonable. I think PBC really thought they were going to take over boxing, and they had a ton of money. But right now, the budget's out of control, and there's cuts being made. There's fighters that are asking for astronomical demands, and the fights are just okay. They don't have any really big sponsors. There's a lot of inactivity, and I think that the fighters, I think their patience is running out. I think the talent and their years are being wasted, and I think some fighters have even banked on signing with Al Heyman to be a part of PBC. They've left their promoters. They've left their managers. For example, Neno. For example, Tevin Farmer. And Al's just not signing guys right now. There's really not that type of money right now. I think that there is going to be a better game plan for 2017. That's what I was told. And that there's going to be some sort of schedule that's going to be announced here soon for 2017. So, Jay, can you give me your breakdown on what you saw last week on The Fight Game?
These are the things that stuck out to me. First, Jim Lampley really didn't say anything that hasn't been said already that was too false. I've seen a couple of scathing pieces that have been written about him, saying that he's overstepping his boundaries, he's lost his way as a journalist, et cetera, et cetera. And I can agree with some of those points as well. But what really struck out to me is the fact that he and Max Kellerman spent so much of the time, even Bernard Hopkins to a certain extent, like dissing Canelo and lifting up Triple G. And before you start tweeting us and calling us Triple G haters, I don't have time for all that on a Monday morning, because we're not. Canelo is also the house guy on HBO. A little bit more respect. The man is putting 50,000 asses in seats. And until that stops, he's going to have a certain amount of pull and a certain amount of say. And it's really, really disrespectful, the campaign. Of course, we all want him to fight against Triple G. Of course, we all want that fight. We're not getting it now. So we can either watch them adopt this bullying effect or this bullying attempt to goad him into the fight against Triple G, or we can just wait it out. He's injured. He's not fighting anymore. Canelo always gets injured towards the end of the year. He got a calf injury when he was going to do that one fight against the one kid. I forgot who he was supposed to fight at the end of the year. 1 year, he got a calf injury that we didn't know of. He gets out of the fight that he just had against Liam Smith. He's got what he's got broken now that he needs to get fixed. Canelo does not care if you want him to fight Triple G. His stance right now is that they made an offer. Triple G didn't want it. That's what it is. That's the lay of the land. So I don't know. I think it's disrespectful for his own network to try to bully him into a fight instead of trying to make it more enticing. You want the fight to be more enticing because your guy Triple G wants to get into a good fight and get a good payday? Hey, and he has some money. I don't know. Maybe they're trying to force Canelo off of the network so they can bring up their stars, Triple G, Lomachenko, Sergey Kovalev. I don't know what the agenda is, but it just seems a little disrespectful since Canelo is yo dude who's bringing in the most money for the network. A little less hate, Jim Lampley. Chill out a little bit, guy. So that's my take on the Fight Game.
Yeah, me and you, we talked about this a little bit yesterday, and I felt like at one time they were really hard on Andre Ward, too, but they just wanted him to fight. and they wanted a big fight from him. And they pretty much did bully him into signing a contract that said, hey, I'll fight 2 or 3 times, and then I will fight Kovalev for you. Because they knew that was a huge fight, a pay-per-view fight. And I think that's kind of what they're trying to do with Canelo and Golden Boy is, let's go on TV and say this, that, and the third because let's strong-arm him because we want him to fight Golovkin. But I still think Canelo has the upper hand. I still think he has the leverage in that fight. I still think he's the shot caller, and we all want to see that fight. Regarding his PBC assessment, do you think he was a bit too hard, a bit too biased, breaking the PBC down?
Of course. But that's what Jim is going to. Jim is going to Jim. And he's making this assessment of PBC without really mentioning the real root of the problems, addressing the fighter. I mean, the model is flawed, but the fighters have to take control of their own destiny. But they're going to say whatever they need to say because these fighters don't fight on their network. They don't have any agreements with them. Maybe they all should sit down and have a drink together and make good fights. And then instead of playing Who Moved My Cheese every week with boxing, it's better for the fans. Everyone will make money, but I guess that's not the agenda anymore. The agenda is just to sit and point fingers and be reactive instead of proactive. So Jim is going to, and the sad part about it is there's no equivalent over on Showtime that's going to do the same thing about HBO. So maybe it would be a little bit more palatable if we could get the other side of the street shooting back at them, but we're not going to get that, and they know it. So they can sit on their platform and say, you did it right, while they're shoving pay-per-views down our throat every week that people don't have the money to pay for. Who wants to pay for a pay-per-view every 3 months?
Yeah, I mean, look, I agree and I disagree. I think Jim Lampley, he can't really call it down the middle. I mean, he brought up some things that were, like a little loony, like, oh, there's commercials and this and that. But, the bigger picture was that the PBC has not been a huge success. It really hasn't. We're not being biased. We're not being haters. But it's hard for Jim Lampley to go on HBO and say that and not think that he's being biased. But the truth of the matter is that the budget has been out of control. There's a lot of cuts that have been made. There's fighters that are demanding big money for showcase fights. They want tune-up fights. The fights are mediocre. They don't have any big endorsements. So in that aspect, I mean, he was right. But like I said, I'm told that there is a better game plan for 2017. Everybody's got to step their game up, including the fighters. So listen, we're going to take a quick commercial break, but we're going to come back and play Know It or Blow It. Call up 718-508-9852. Press 1 if you want to play to win free gear from RagingBabe.com. We'll be right back with Know It or Blow It.
When the mind is ready, the body prepares for war. So next time you engage in battle, protect your hands with the best. War Tape, the original branded tape. Order yours now at wartapebrand.com and see why the enemy will fear you. wartapebrand.com. We put hands on you.
All right. Do we have anyone who wants to play Know It or Blow It with us, Jay?
We have one brave soul calling in from the 504 that I know to be Louisiana. So let's go on and pick up the 504. 504-231, you are on with RB and J. You ready to play some Know It or Blow It?
I'm ready.
All right, let's go. So we're going to give you 10 seconds, and we need you to name us 3 prospects in boxing. 3 boxing prospects. Any of them. Go.
Okay. Julian Williams, Eddie Lubin, and Barrows.
You got to give me one more prospect because Julian Williams is not a prospect anymore. He's got himself a little belt or something. We need another one. I'm going to give you one more shot. Give me one more.
Cowboy.
Carl Cowboy?
Yeah.
All right, I'm going to give it to him. All right. I thought that was going to be a lot harder than it was. Hey, Louisiana. All right,
I watch a lot of boxing. That's why. That's what that is.
You know what? I didn't think anybody was going to win. When you said Lubin, I said, oh, man, he's going to win. Listen, I need you to DM me or message me or email me, however you can. Go on raisingbabe.com, see what's in stock, send me what you want, what your size is, your shipping address, and we will get that right out to you.
Okay, sounds good.
All right, have a good one. Thank you for joining us this morning.
No problem.
All right, wow. All right, y'all was ready for Know It or Blow It this morning. Good job, boxing fans. Good job.
Yes. So listen, we could go right into hot topics if you want, Jay. Our
Let's
hot
do
topics
it.
today
Yeah.
are going to have us all the way up, and we are going to start off with Floyd Mayweather. He sound off on Saturday night after his show in Las Vegas with his fighters. He did some video, and he said these fighters today are asking for too much money. They are demanding too much, and they are not fighting. They need to start fighting their ass off. I am going to call Al Heyman, and I am going to tell him that these guys are asking for too much money. He was mad, but let me tell you something about Floyd. Everything he says and when he says it and how he says it and to who he says it is always planned out. That is one thing I learned about him years ago when I was affiliated with that company, was that everything he says is very, very strategic. So that must have been ran through the channels before he said it. And I wouldn't be surprised if Al said, hey, Floyd, I need a favor. I need you to tell these boys that they are sucking me dry over here. Last week, we saw that Danny Garcia is going to get a tune-up. He's going to get a tune-up and make like $1 million. You know what I'm saying? He's a champ.
A gajillion dollars.
So how do you feel about Floyd's sound-off?
I like what he's saying, but with regards to his own fighters within the Mayweather promo stable, I don't know. Maybe they're not harassing Al as much as some of the other fighters are, but I feel like these fighters have watched this recent era Floyd and think that's all what it is, and it's up their promoters and their handlers and the people around them to really reinforce the fact that Floyd elevated himself up to that level to shot caller, that he was taking pay cuts and all kind of things and traveling to other people's backyards when he was Pretty Boy Floyd, and he was a killer. And that's what got him to that level. It wasn't just about the cars and the hoes and the jewelry and the traveling. It wasn't that. He built and elevated himself up to that level. And I think these young guys only are watching the social media version about it instead of being a little bit more long-sighted. So they need to do their research.
Exactly. They want to live like Money May, but they don't want to put in the work or the fights like Pretty Boy did. And
that's right.
You know, Floyd generated money. That is the point that these young guns are missing, is that he generated money. Everybody around him made money. The networks made money. The promoters made money. The city of Las Vegas made money. The hotel made money. The venue made money. I mean, everybody was making money around him, not just him. And he was able to sell out arenas. These guys are asking for $1 million and can't put 1,000 people in a venue. That's where it gets like super, super sketchy and delusional. Floyd was rumbling at an early age. He needed Arturo Gotti back then. Arturo Gotti did not need him. He fought Chico Corrales, Castillo, Hernandez. He was fighting killers at 25 years old?
Young guy,
so that's
young
the
gun.
part that these guys are forgetting, is that they want to be like Floyd, but they ain't as good as him. You know, pay the cost to be the boss. You got to generate some money. You got to put some people in the seats. You know, it's like with any business. You want a return on investment. What is your return on investment? If you get $1 million check, what's the return?
They're going to put some pictures on Instagram with some rented jewelry and some rented cars and some rented animals.
Yeah. So Floyd earned his money. He took risks. He generated money. You don't have to like him today. No, he's not taking the risk today. But, you know, he don't really got to. And we don't have to like it either. But he did. Do not forget about Pretty Boy Floyd. Talking about a guy with a false sense of entitlement who's been, you know, inactive. On RingTV.com last week, Jay, Gary Russell Jr. did an interview, and he is everything that is wrong with boxing right now. He is exactly what Floyd Mayweather was sounding off about. He made some comments that he wants bigger purses. He is pushing for higher purses. Mind you, he's only fought like one time this year. Mind you, who has he fought before that one time? He fought Lomachenko, and he got taken to school. He has no fan base. He has never even fought in his backyard. He's not a crowd pleaser. His personality is non-existent. So what justifies him wanting to get these bigger purses, Jay? Like, what has Heyman created here?
Hey, a TBD, to be decided and to be announced are some formidable guys, and he deserves these big paydays. I don't know what's going on with Gary Russell Jr. It's unacceptable. Just shut up and do the work, guy. And stop and don't start tweeting us that we hate Gary Russell Jr. because you know you feel the same way too. How many times did we see Gary Russell Jr. fight over the course of a year or two where we didn't even know who the hell he was fighting until like a week before? So, man, I agree. Wrong.
All wrong. Golovkin Jacobs, the saga continues. So everybody got really excited. They thought this fight was going to happen. You know, Jacobs is the mandatory. He's been a regular champ for like 2 years. And it just looks like it's not going to happen in December. Do I think it'll happen in 2017? Possibly. I mean, Jacobs got to look out for his manhood and some pride here. But anyway, Golovkin Jacobs is going to a purse bid. The WBA did give an extension for the purse bid. It's going to go down like October 22nd. Per the WBA, Golovkin is allowed 75% share of the purse. And Danny Jacobs wants a bigger slice. Now, here's the problem. This is what happens when you wait. When you let things marinate and when you wait for a fight, well, you no longer have leverage. You no longer have input on this. Danny Jacobs had all the leverage and the popularity and the exposure when he knocked out Peter Quillen in 1 round. Now, 11 months later, you're asking for a bigger piece of the pie when you just fought Sergio Mora this year in a rematch. You know, he doesn't have much leverage right now, Jay. He had a lot of momentum back then at that knockout. That's when he should have said, look, I want the Golovkin fight, and I deserve 40%. And he probably could have got it. But now this thing is going to purse bid.
Well,
What's going to happen? He's probably going to drop the belt.
We'll see what's going to happen with that. It's pretty clear that he is not interested in this fight. They could have come to an agreement long before. First, it started off that the fight was all systems were go. And then whatever the holdup or whatever the bottleneck is, Leffler tells the WBA, Tom Leffler told the WBA that they need a purse bid, which indicates they couldn't come to some type of finality. So the WBA goes, nah, we want you to work it out. So right now it's in the air. Steven Espinosa is weighing in, saying they would be interested in a fight. Of course they would be interested in the fight because they know they're not going to get the fight because Triple G is exclusive to HBO. So if they want that fight, Danny Jacobs is going to have to fight on HBO. He does not have an exclusive deal to Showtime. If I'm not mistaken, the only exclusive fighters to Showtime are Anthony Joshua, Charles Martin, and I believe that's in maybe Danny Garcia. I don't even know if Danny Garcia has an exclusive deal to Showtime. No, he doesn't because he fights on PBC, which is whatever channel they choose of that week, which is Fox has been lately for Danny Garcia. He's been fighting on PBC on Big Fox. So if they want the fight to happen, there's nothing to prevent Danny Jacobs from going over to HBO. And if he goes over to HBO, he'll probably make a little bit more money. So is he pricing himself out of the fight by asking for something astronomical? I'd heard a rumor out there that he was asking for 3 times what Dominic Wade got for fighting Gennady Golovkin, which would be somewhere in the neighborhood of $1.5 million, if I'm correct, because I think Dominic Wade got about $500K to fight against Golovkin. So I just feel like there's no interest in really doing this fight. And that's very disappointing because I really was a fan of Danny Jacobs. I was very compelled by him beating cancer. And that to me in my mind was like, wow, you beat cancer. You not fearful. Well, maybe not fearful. I just don't want to see this fight get tangled up in the politics. And Danny Jacobs has long lost the momentum he got by crushing Peter Quillen. At this point, why don't we just take Kid Chocolate off the bench and throw him in the ring with Triple G if he wanted?
Yeah, listen, will the WBA change their split policy? I doubt it. You know, that's what they have their policies for. I think that Tom Loeffler is in a really good position to win this bid. I think HBO has a lot of money right now to win this bid. So, of course, Steven Espinosa would like it on Showtime, but this is all more of the reason why I'm saying this is not going to happen. There's just too many hands in the pot and things going on. It's just crazy. So anyway, why don't we go to a commercial break? We are going to come back with Word on the Curb, and it is juicy. I so far have not seen anything put out there on our Word on the Curb. And then we'll talk about some fight announcements that have been made over the past week or two, Jay.
The Caribe Hilton Hotel in San Juan, Puerto Rico will host the 29th WBO convention October 17th through October 21st. The World Boxing Organization is a sanctioning organization currently recognizing professional boxing world champions such as Sergey the Crusher Kovalev, Gilberto El Zurdo Ramirez, Terrence Bud Crawford, Jesse La Nueva Generación Vargas, Roman Rocky Martinez. Registration forms and advertising opportunities are on our website at WBOboxing.com. The WBO also has a mission that extends beyond the ring. So help join the WBO on this fight, and for more information on the WBO convention in Puerto Rico and the Kids Drug Free program, visit WBOboxing.com.
All right, Word on the Curb, Jay. Whew, where do I even start? I've been saving a lot of this because I was waiting for us to get back on the air. So anyway, Word on the Curb is Randy Caballero is no longer with Golden Boy. Well, that's not the word on the curb. We all knew that. His contract ran out. But the word is that him and his father are looking for big, stupid money. They want a huge signing bonus. They also thought that maybe they were going to get to go with Al Heyman. And again, that's just not happening. I think Tevin Farmer thought the same thing. He didn't get signed after the Red Koch fight. Neno thought he was going to get signed with a big bonus, and he's sitting there like a duck now, too, out of his top-ranked contract and out of Cameron Duncan. But anyway, Randy Caballero wants this big signing bonus. Nobody's really that interested in him. You know, he might want to call like about billions. I heard that they're trying to sign some fighters, but he hasn't fought in a really long time. And if you remember, he lost his title on the scale at Cotto Canelo. That's right. Not a good look either.
Never. Maybe on that note, maybe about billions is a good fit for him. We know they lose titles on scales over. They got titles, but they lose them on the scale. So, hey, holla at AB. Holla at your boy.
Talking about Billions Promotions, they are very serious in signing Tevin Farmer, the kid out of Philly. But the word is about Billions doesn't really have about Billions money. So they are seeking Big Baby Miller and Tevin Farmer, but they're going to have to cough up some money. Their promoters are not just going to walk away. They're at least going to want what they put into these guys, maybe plus some, maybe plus 20% on top of that. So they're going to have to come correct at Lou DiBella. They're going to have to come correct at the guy, Salta, who promotes Big Baby Miller out there in upstate New York as well. Word on the curb is Jarrett Hurd is going to be on that November 12th card in Philly, and that there is going to be a press conference this week announcing the fight, headlined by Danny Garcia. We still have no idea who he's fighting. I reached out to all of my sources. Everybody is very, very tight-lipped. This is very strange. Usually I can get that little piece of tea out of somebody, but I'll tell you what, it's been so tight-lipped. So other word on the curb is Granados versus Maurice Hooker may be in the works for the November 17th card, the Ward Kovalev card in Vegas. So everybody's been wondering, where has this Granados guy been after he beat Imran? So he might be fighting Maurice Hooker next. Last piece of word on the curb that I have for you guys. Listen close. Put your ears up to the phone. Super, super close. Bernard Hopkins is going to fight his last fight December 17th on the Salido versus Miura card at the Forum. HBO is talking about doing a countdown, like a 24/7, leading up to his retirement fight. And word on the curb is that Bernard is fighting Joe Smith. You heard it here first.
That's right. Word on the curb. So remember, tell your friends when you cite your sources and write your stories and tweet your friends and tweet your neighbors. Remember, you heard it on the Morning Punching Show with RB&J during Word on the Curb. So B-Hop, we'll see what happens. Maybe we can we put Roy Jones on the tour with them? I mean, let's just wrap it all up while we at it. So I don't know. We'll see. Thanks, B-Hop. Let's get right into the weekend fight announcements. So we'll go over the fight announcements, period, not the weekend fight schedule. It's been announced that Jesse Hart versus Andrew Hernandez will happen on November 4th in Vegas at Treasure Island. So book your trips now if you're a Jesse Hart fan. Kendall Holt will be returning to the ring on November 11th, so be on the lookout for that. The heavyweight update coming off of the heels of him fighting with Matchroom, Luis Ortiz will now be fighting against, are you ready? Malik Scott on November 12th. Don't take a dive. And then also Jason Sosa versus Steven Smith on November 12th, also in Monte Carlo. And on the card, Arthur Abraham versus Martin Murray. So be on the lookout for those fights on November 12th.
That's a good card.
Yeah, it is. If you would like to sponsor the Morning Punch-In Show so we can go to Monte Carlo or Monaco or whatever, please send your donations to Raging Babe or to Jay, because we like taking trips and we both have passports. So we would like to go to that card on November 12th if you want to make it happen. Also happening, Danny Swift Garcia has a fight, but we don't know who the opponent is. November 12th at Temple University. Oh, he's going back home to Philly at the, how do you say this place? Like Aquarius Center?
The Liacouras Center at Temple University.
All right, so Temple, you stand up. Danny Swift Garcia is coming across town so he can fight, fresh haircut and all. Also been added this week. Curtis Stevens versus James De La Rosa will be on the Kovalev versus Ward November 19th. Shout out to Curtis Stevens. Curtis just wants fights, man. He just wants to fight. Get this guy some fights. There's so many guys turning down fights. This dude is begging for fights. So finally he got a fight on the Kovalev Ward card, and that's great for him. Also announced, as you know, Salido versus Miura, December 17th in my backyard at the Forum in Inglewood. Me, RB, back on the scene, tailgating with the folks. Maybe we should host our own tateldate during that fight. That might be kind of fun.
And hey, we just posted doing word on the curb that B-Hop's supposed to be on that card. So we're definitely going to be out there. I got to see B-Hop off. Demetrius Andrade, he has agreed to terms to fight Jack Colquet out in Germany on November 5th. By the way, Andrade's Twitter has been hilarious. The way that he comes out the Charlo brothers is so hysterically disrespectful. You got to follow this guy on Twitter. Nothing solid on Badou Jack versus the Gale. Both sides say they want to make the fight happen, but nothing has been agreed to. Nothing has been signed. There's no date, no site. There were some rumors a couple weeks ago that it was going to happen in November, but what the heck has happened to the Gale? I mean, he was a really big thing in the UK. He came over here and signed the payment. He fought one time, and now he wants astronomical money. Well, you should have stayed with Eddie Hearn in the UK. Right.
I mean, that's where the money is at. I mean, I think it's kind of like a default option, like when you open up Word and it defaults to a certain font that people think Al Heyman, but we got to look towards the future, and Eddie Hearn right now is that dude. And hell, I'd sign with Eddie Hearn. Eddie Hearn got the money, baby. That's where I would sign.
Yeah. We completely forgot to talk about Luis Ortiz earlier. Completely skipped over that hot topic. So as soon as we wrap up these fight announcements, we're gonna talk a little bit about Luis Ortiz inking a promotional deal with Matchroom Boxing. I can't believe we forgot about that. We've been so hyped today. So Leo Santa Cruz versus Carl Frampton. It's not going to happen this year. There was a lot of talks, and it looked like that fight was going to go down in December, but it's not happening. The lights are out at Showtime in October. Mikey Garcia was even expected to fight this October, and that's not happening. But he may get squeezed on a December Showtime card, maybe with Charlo, J-Rock, but who knows? That's still out there in lingo, too. There won't be any more PBC on ESPN until at least April. So that's the latest that we have on fights and fights announcements. But, Jay, let's rewind a little bit. Let's go back to Hot Topics. And Luis Ortiz inked a promotional deal with Matchroom Boxing. Literally every heavyweight is now available to him. I feel like it was a really smart move for him. HBO just didn't have the dates. They didn't have the right opponents. And watch how many U.S. fighters try to go to the U.K. next year. It was a very solid business decision by the Cuban. At first, I think we all kind of looked at him side-eyed, like, damn, why are you leaving Golden Boy like that? But, man, what a move for Luis Ortiz, right?
That is a great move from him. It's clear that Eddie Hearn can do business with everybody. He has a great relationship. He's kind of like that English version of Tom Leffler, where he can negotiate with everybody, and he garners a certain level of respect. He made another big coup. He can get another great opponent for his young prodigy, Anthony Joshua. Even if he loses to Anthony Joshua, he's got a guy who can go out and get a Deontay Wilder fight. He can do whatever he wants. And this is such a great look for Luis Ortiz. I agree. You know, not too many people walk away from Golden Boy, and he was sitting pretty. He was sitting pretty over at Golden Boy. But for him to leave, they gave up some cash, and he's going to have the potential to make a lot more money over the UK. He's guaranteed of fighting in front of at least 30,000 people every time he steps in the ring now that he's rocking with Matchroom. So that's great for him.
Yeah, I think he exited out of the Cuban school of boxing, and he made a really good move, and he needs to get some other Cubans under his wings and help them out. So, Jay, give us the fight weekend schedule.
All right. Still a little light, kids. We have more topics than fights to talk about during the month of October. So here it goes. Friday, October 14th on Unamas at 11 p.m. Eastern Time, Alan Herrera versus Jose Felix Jr. And on Saturday, October 15th on Sky Sports, BJ Flores versus Tony Bellew. Yeah. Calm down, you guys. Don't get too excited. So that's going on October 15th on Sky Sports.
Oh, Lord. So before we wrap up today, I want to plug our show this Wednesday, The Ruckus, at 8 o'clock. It's going to be a really, really great show. Guys, we love to have fun. We love to joke around. We love to play pranks on people. But we also know when it's time to get serious and touch on, serious topics. So this Wednesday on The Ruckus, it's called The High Life. And we are going to have some boxers, some former boxers, some people in the industry talking about drugs and drugs addiction and alcoholism in the sport and the dark side of boxing and what these fighters really go through when they lose over social media. It's so deep, and it's a subject that we really need to talk about. Jay mentioned earlier that Zab Judah was arrested last week for domestic violence, and Victor Ortiz was pulled over and got a DUI. And Tyson Fury announced that he's addicted to cocaine. This is a lot more common than you may think in our sport. What these guys go through, we forget that they are human. They are not animals. Just because they're savage and they fight like animals doesn't mean they are. And so I really recommend that you tune in Wednesday night, 8 o'clock Pacific time, 11 o'clock Eastern time. I will be broadcasting live from Philly. Jay will be in Inglewood. But please tune in. Yeah, our guests are really going to move you. Some of them have experienced some breakthroughs, and we just want them to share their stories with us. And so you could just see that these guys are more humane than what we think.
Absolutely. A great show, and I'm looking forward to rocking that one with you, RB.
Yeah. So, listen, we have a few more minutes, Jay. I don't know if you want to go back to our hashtag for the Morning Punchin' Show. We had a hot question that we put out there. And it was, is boxing on the brink of a rebirth, or is it hanging on by its thread? So if you want to read a couple more responses, we got some time.
I would absolutely love to. Like we mentioned at the top of the show, RB and I both agree that boxing is going through a rebirth. No matter how you look at it, I'm not ready to close the chapter on our beloved sport. And so let me pull up a few more responses. TweetDeck rebooted and got rid of my column. So let me find.
I can find some if you'd like.
Oh, okay. Here we go. No, I got it. So some of our other folks this morning, Jack Cole says, I remember unknown guy John the Beast Mugabe being on TV once a month, KOing guys. Then he had a big haggler fight. Oh, okay. All right. Let's see, back to the hot question. Here in the U.S., it's in limbo. We read that one from, same thing. Here from Kingdom of James. Here in the U.S., it's in limbo. The U.K., on the other hand, is booming. Domo Famsaw says that I think that will be decided if when our star decides to take on his biggest test yet. I'm guessing you're referring to Canelo when you say that. Lamar_TN says boxing is hanging on by a thread. I'm a hardcore fan, but I'm losing interest because the best don't fight the best anymore. Frustrating. Agreed. Rajiv Malhotra says, I hear a lot of Heyman's boxers are looking for something to do. Well, we know that. It's Young Gun 2 Raw says, now that Floyd spoke about the current state, it will be a rebirth. Good point. And as you mentioned, RB, when Floyd speaks, it's very, very strategic. So maybe this is their way of getting in front of it.
You know, I'd like to add on to the guy that brought up the UFC. I mentioned that the other night. There was a time on my Twitter where the people that I followed were not tweeting about the UFC. They just weren't. They were diehard boxing fans, whether they were casual or old school or whatnot. And the other night, my entire Twitter feed was filled with UFC tweets. And that was very telling to me. Like, a lot of the people that I follow are now watching more UFC. They're buying the pay-per-view shows. They're following it. They know the names of the fighters. They're excited about it. And I'm like, wow. I mean, just a year or two ago, I didn't see any of that on my timeline. I mean, we used to joke about it, like, yo, don't be tweeting about the UFC. Well, now they're watching UFC.
Shoot,
Thanks,
I've gotten
boxing.
sucked in. I know, I've gotten sucked into it myself. Shout out to my guy, Blu-ray Group. He said, I love Jeandra, but I hate when she tweets about MMA. Hey, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, guy. And just a couple more. Brandon, whose Twitter handle is Brandon Marchand, says boxing is in trouble, but not in danger. So, yeah, that's a general sentiment. Either it's going through a rebirth, it's hanging on by a thread, or the UK got all the business. So I can agree with all the above, except for the hanging on by a thread part. It's not going anywhere.
Well, look, we got through this entire show in less than 60 minutes. We were really stressing if we were going to get this done, but as the pros we are, Jay, we got it done. We appreciate everyone for listening today. Thank you, Jay, for rocking out with me and being so amazing. Catch us every Monday morning from 8 to 9. And please, please, we urge you to tune in this Wednesday, 8 o'clock, to The Ruckus for the highlights. This is Morning Punchin' Show, and thank you for making us a part of your day. RB&J, it's a wrap.
When you don't go to Geico.com, car insurance can be confusing. Like Swedish techno confusing.
Bark, bark, meow, meow. Dance with me, purple cow. Bark, bark, meow, meow. Ooh, you lovely cow.
Geico makes it easy. With 24/7 access, all you have to do is go to Geico.com and you could save money on car insurance. It just makes sense. Unlike, you know.
Dance with me, purple cow. I like your move.